In the dry scrublands of southern Africa, a wildlife cameraman crouches behind a termite mound, lens trained on what looks like a small, unassuming creature about the size of a house cat. He's been tracking this animal for 3 days, documenting its behavior for a nature documentary. What he's about to witness will leave him speechless. The honey badger approaches a 6-foot-long puff adder coiled in the shade, one of Africa's most venomous snakes. The cameraman tenses, expecting the badger to retreat. Instead, it charges. The snake strikes, fangs sinking deep into the badger's face. Venom pumps directly into its bloodstream, enough to kill a human in hours, enough to drop a full-grown antelope in minutes. The honey badger doesn't even flinch. It grabs the snake behind the head, crushes its skull with jaws designed to crack bone, and begins eating. Midway through its meal, the venom finally kicks in. The badger's legs wobble. It collapses, face down in the dirt, completely paralyzed. The cameraman assumes it's dead. He keeps filming out of habit, documenting what he thinks is the aftermath of a fatal mistake. 2 hours pass. The body lies motionless under the African sun. Then, slowly, one leg twitches. Then another. The honey badger lifts its head, shakes off the dust, walks back to the half-eaten snake, and finishes its meal. What just happened shouldn't be biologically possible, and yet, for the honey badger, this is Tuesday. This is an animal that has been stung by thousands of bees, bitten by cobras, mauled by lions, and attacked by porcupines. And it's still here, not because it's lucky, because it's built different. Science has studied this creature for decades, and the more we learn, the stranger it gets. The honey badger's skin is so thick and loose that when a predator bites down, the badger can twist inside its own skin and bite back. Its metabolism can neutralize venom that would kill animals 10 times its size. And perhaps most disturbingly, it has no concept of retreat. Zoologists have documented honey badgers attacking animals that outweigh them by hundreds of pounds. Lions, leopards, even rhinos, not for food, not for territory. Sometimes, it seems, just because they can. There's a reason the Guinness Book of World Records once listed the honey badger as the most fearless animal on Earth. But fearlessness is only part of the story. What makes the honey badger truly abnormal isn't its aggression. It's how evolution designed an animal that refuses to follow the rules every other creature obeys. Let's start with what the honey badger actually is, because even that is misleading. Despite the name, it's not a badger, not in the way most people think. True badgers belong to the subfamily Melanae, the European and American badgers, burrowing omnivores with relatively calm temperaments. The honey badger belongs to a completely different lineage, Melivorinae, a solo branch on the evolutionary tree that split off millions of years ago. It's more closely related to weasels, martens, and wolverines, a family of carnivores known for one thing, punching far above their weight class. But even among that group, the honey badger stands out. An adult male weighs about 12 to 16 kgs, roughly the size of a cocker spaniel. Females are smaller, around 9 kgs. They're compact, low to the ground, built like a muscular sausage with stubby legs. Their bodies are about 60 to 70 cm long, with a short tail adding another 20 cm. At first glance, they don't look threatening. They look almost goofy, waddling through the bush with a jerky, stiff-legged gait. But that appearance is deceptive, because the honey badger's body is not designed for speed or elegance. It's designed for violence. Start with the skin. Most animals have skin that fits snugly over muscle and bone. The honey badger's skin is like wearing a coat 2 sizes too big. It's thick, nearly a quarter inch in some places, and incredibly loose, especially around the neck and shoulders. This isn't just padding, it's tactical armor. When a predator bites down, expecting to hit vital organs or spine, the honey badger rotates inside its own skin, twisting around to face its attacker. Imagine biting into a leather jacket only to have the person inside spin around and punch you in the face. That's what happens when you try to kill a honey badger. Lions have learned this the hard way. Leopards have learned this the hard way. Even porcupines, whose quills can pierce through thick hide, struggle against the honey badger's loose sliding armor. Then there are the claws. Honey badgers have 5 toes on each foot, each tipped with a claw that can grow up to 4 centimeters long. These aren't climbing claws or scratching claws. These are digging claws, powerful enough to tear through sun-baked earth, rip apart termite mounds, and shred through the roots of trees. They use these claws to excavate burrows in minutes, to dismantle beehives, and, when necessary, to fight. The front claws are slightly longer and more curved, perfect for hooking into an opponent and pulling them closer. Because the honey badger doesn't retreat, it closes distance. And then there's the jaw. The honey badger has one of the strongest bite forces relative to body size of any carnivore. Its skull is built like a vise, reinforced with thick bone and powered by oversized jaw muscles. It can crush tortoiseshells, crack open bones to get at the marrow inside, and bite through the spine of animals twice its size. But raw strength is only part of the equation. The teeth themselves are designed for destruction. Long canines for gripping, sharp carnassials for slicing, and flat molars for crushing. It's a toolkit built for eating anything, from insects to antelope. And it uses that toolkit constantly, because the honey badger is always hungry. Its metabolism runs hot, burning through calories at a rate that demands near constant foraging. It doesn't have the luxury of being picky. If it's alive and edible, the honey badger will eat it. Insects, rodents, birds, eggs, reptiles, fruits, roots, carrion, nothing is off the table. But here's where things get truly strange. The honey badger doesn't just survive in hostile environments, it thrives in them. And it does so by breaking one of nature's most fundamental rules. Most animals in the wild operate on a simple principle: avoid danger. If there's a venomous snake, go around it. If there's a beehive, leave it alone. If there's a predator nearby, hide. The honey badger does the opposite. It seeks out danger. It walks toward threats instead of away from them, and somehow it survives. Take bees. The relationship between honey badgers and bees is so bizarre that it's almost comedic. The badger doesn't just tolerate bee stings, it seems to ignore them entirely. Researchers have watched honey badgers tear apart entire hives, face covered in thousands of angry bees, stingers embedded in their snout, eyes, ears, and they just keep eating. No flinching, no retreat, just methodical destruction. The bees sting, the badger eats. The bees sting more. The badger eats more. Eventually, the bees give up. Part of this is the skin again. That thick, loose hide makes it hard for stingers to penetrate deeply. But even when they do, the honey badger's pain receptors seem dulled, as if evolution decided that feeling pain was a waste of energy. Why flinch when you can just keep eating? But bees are the easy part. The real test comes with snakes. Africa is home to some of the deadliest serpents on the planet. Puff adders, black mambas, cobras, boomslang. A single bite from any of these can kill a human. A bite from a puff adder delivers hemotoxic venom that destroys blood cells and tissue. A black mamba's neurotoxin shuts down the nervous system in minutes, and the honey badger eats them regularly. Scientists have documented honey badgers actively hunting venomous snakes, not as a last resort, but as a preferred meal. They dig them out of burrows, chase them across open ground, and attack with a precision that suggests experience. The strike pattern is almost always the same. The badger grabs the snake behind the head, crushes the skull, and begins eating from the head down. Sometimes the snake gets a bite in first, and this is where biology becomes baffling. When venom enters the bloodstream of most animals, the result is predictable. Tissue damage, paralysis, respiratory failure, death. But the honey badger has evolved a biochemical defense that scientists are still trying to fully understand. Its blood contains specialized proteins that bind to venom molecules, neutralizing them before they can cause widespread damage. It's not complete immunity. The badger can still be affected, but the dose required to kill it is exponentially higher than for other animals its size. In the case of the puff adder, a bite that would kill a dog in an hour might only paralyze a honey badger for 2 to 4 hours. During that time, the badger's body is fighting a silent war. Its liver and kidneys work overtime, filtering toxins. Its immune system floods the bloodstream with antibodies. Its metabolism, already running hot, kicks into overdrive. And then, as if nothing happened, it wakes up and keeps going. This is not normal. This defies the logic of predator and prey, of survival and death. Most animals live by avoiding fatal mistakes. The honey badger lives by surviving them. But the strangeness doesn't end with venom resistance, because the honey badger isn't just tough. It's smart, dangerously smart. In captivity, honey badgers are escape artists. They've been observed using tools, stacking objects to climb over walls, digging under fences, and even working together to break out of enclosures. One famous case involved a honey badger named Stoffel at a rehabilitation center in South Africa. Stoffel escaped repeatedly, using different methods each time. He learned to rake up piles of dirt against walls, to stand on rocks and leap over barriers. And when keepers removed those options, he figured out how to open the gate latch. When they locked the latch, he found a way to twist the hinges. When they secured the hinges, he started digging. This went on for years. Every fix the keepers implemented, Stoffel eventually bypassed. It became a battle of wits, and the badger was winning. In the wild, this intelligence translates into survival. Honey badgers have been seen using sticks to probe termite mounds, testing for weak points before digging in. They've been observed rolling logs to flush out prey hiding underneath. They've learned the behaviors of other animals, waiting for raptors to kill snakes so they can steal the meal. And most famously, they've developed a relationship with a bird called the greater honey guide. The honey guide has a unique problem. It loves to eat beeswax, but it can't break into hives on its own, so it recruits help. When the bird spots a hive, it flies to find a honey badger, then leads it to the nest with a series of calls. The badger tears the hive apart, eats the honey and larvae, and the bird feeds on the leftover wax. It's one of the few examples of interspecies cooperation in the wild, and it only works because the honey badger is capable of following cues, understanding patterns, and planning actions based on delayed rewards. This is cognitive sophistication on par with primates. But unlike primates, the honey badger uses that intelligence almost exclusively for destruction. They don't build, they don't nurture complex social bonds. They just survive, relentlessly, violently, efficiently. And that brings us to the question everyone asks. Why are honey badgers so aggressive? The answer is simpler than you'd think. They have to be. The honey badger lives in one of the most competitive ecosystems on the planet. The African savanna and scrublands are home to lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs, pythons, and countless other predators. Every meal is contested. Every water source is dangerous. Every day is a fight to stay alive. For most small animals, the strategy is to hide, to be fast, to avoid conflict at all costs. But the honey badger chose a different path. Instead of running, it fights. Instead of hiding, it confronts. And instead of backing down, it escalates. This works because predators operate on a cost-benefit analysis. A lion could kill a honey badger, but is it worth the risk of injury? A leopard could try, but what if the badger gets a bite in? What if it damages an eye or tears a tendon? For a predator, an injury means death by starvation or infection. So, when a honey badger turns around, hisses, and charges, most predators decide the meal isn't worth it. They back off, and the honey badger learns that aggression works. This feedback loop has been reinforced over millions of years. The badgers that fought survived. The ones that didn't. Natural selection favored violence, and now we have an animal that treats a lion the same way it treats a beetle, as a problem to be solved with teeth and claws. But here's the cost. Honey badgers live alone. They don't form packs, they don't mate for life, they don't raise young together. A mother will care for her cubs for about a year, teaching them to hunt, to dig, to fight, and then she leaves. From that point on, they're solo. This solitary lifestyle is rare among mammals, especially carnivores. Most predators benefit from cooperation, from group hunting, from shared defense. But the honey badger doesn't need help. It doesn't want help. It survives alone because it can, and perhaps because nothing else can tolerate being around it. Even other honey badgers avoid each other outside of mating season. When two males cross paths, the interaction is usually violent. They fight over territory, over food, over nothing in particular. The fights are brutal, scarring both animals, and they rarely end in death, not because either one backs down, but because both are too tough to kill. So they separate, bloodied and exhausted, and go back to their solitary existence. This is an animal that lives in a permanent state of war, with its environment, with other predators, with its own species. And it wins. Not every time. Honey badgers die. They starve, they get killed by larger predators, they succumb to injuries and infections. But as a species, they endure. They've been around for millions of years, surviving ice ages, droughts, and the rise of human civilization. Today, honey badgers are found across Africa, the Middle East, and parts of India. They adapt to deserts, forests, grasslands, even urban edges. They eat whatever's available, dig wherever they need shelter, and fight whatever gets in their way. They are, in the most literal sense, unstoppable. But that invincibility comes with a cost, because the honey badger's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. It doesn't know when to stop. There are documented cases of honey badgers attacking vehicles, biting tires, clawing at metal. There are reports of them raiding chicken coops repeatedly, even after being shot at. There are stories of honey badgers walking into campsites, stealing food, and refusing to leave even when chased. This isn't stupidity. It's the absence of fear. And, in a world increasingly dominated by humans, fearlessness is a liability. Roads kill them. Farmers trap them. Habitat loss pushes them into conflict. And unlike other animals, honey badgers don't adapt by becoming more cautious. They double down. They fight harder. And sometimes, that's not enough. The honey badger was never meant to coexist with civilization. It was built for a world of endless savanna, where aggression was rewarded and retreat meant death. In that world, it thrived. In ours, it's struggling, not because it's weak, because the rules changed, and the honey badger doesn't know how to change with them. So, what does this animal teach us? Perhaps that survival isn't about being the biggest or the fastest or the smartest. Sometimes, it's about being the most stubborn, about refusing to give up even when the odds are impossible, about fighting not because you'll win, but because you don't know how to quit. The honey badger is nature's middle finger to the concept of limits. It's an animal that shouldn't exist, doing things it shouldn't survive, in places it shouldn't thrive. And yet, it does. For now, the honey badger endures, alone, relentless, unkillable. A creature shaped by violence, defined by endurance, and driven by something deeper than instinct. Something that looks a lot like spite.